And here's the thing, whatever your body is wanting right now is probably the opposite of what it needs. So when our doshas are out of balance, that dosha wants to survive. So it's like, I want more ice cream. So your out of balance dosha will be the one that's saying, I want this.
Welcome to Transformative Tea Talk with Soul Aligned Living. We provide education, resources, and tips on holistic health, mindset, yoga, Qigong, and Ayurveda.
So on our last recording, we talked a lot about our emotions and our anger and things like that, and then realized we're in the middle of spring, Mercury retrograde, all of the things. But in spring, we focus on, in Qigong, we focus on the color green, the liver organs, muscles, and tendons, the gallbladder, our eyes, where our eyes go, our energy flows. And the predominant emotion for spring is anger. So in Qigong, what we do is there's a lot of movements and things that we can do to help ground our body, center our bodies, and work through the anger. And then I think in the last Qigong session I did, there's a lot of like gallbladder meridian. The gallbladder meridian's right through here somewhere, but it's in your head. So if you rub your whole head, you're good. Because I can never remember the exact point, but if you rub your head, this helps release that, work that gallbladder meridian. And I think the liver is a pressure point right here on your foot. So, doing things with your feet and that movement and working your head and just lots of movements like twisting, compressing, extending, grounding, all of those help release the anger and the energy in the body and just get that moving. So in springtime, all of these things are going to come up, and we need to use all of our tools that we all have to help cope with those. And in Qigong, it's about movements and meridians and eyes, focus, being aware of what you're focusing on. Yeah. And I know you all have other tools that we use to help work through our anger.
Well, and there are a lot of tools to help us with anger, frustration, all of those things that kind of bring us down or lowers our vibration. And the trick is to figure out what works for you in the moment and have these tools available. So movement, though, I think is kind of universal, and that goes in so many ways. So it could be taking a walk, it could be dancing, doing Qigong, doing yoga, going for a run. You know, all those things are getting you moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And stopping and paying attention to where it's coming from.
Why?
Why?
I'm going to go back to the pause now.
Yeah. In our
Practice the
last
pause.
in our last talk. Yes. Understanding
Yeah.
the path to
Yes.
love.
We'll have to reference that, what episode that is in
Yes.
our caption.
It is our May 6th
Yeah.
tea time.
Mm-hmm. So we can always go back to that if we need to.
Yeah. This is a good time to do like a cleansing detox thing where we just eliminate toxins in our diet, do cleansing herbal teas, just get rid of the stagnant energy, detox, balance.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I
In
read an
spring, we
article.
also, we declutter, we declutter our house. We do that whole spring cleaning. It goes
Yes.
for our surroundings and our body.
Yes, spring cleaning.
It's like spring and fall are transition seasons between the winter and the summer.
Mhm.
Excuse me, we're in transition right now.
Mhm.
That kind of sums up a lot.
It does. It
It
does.
does. It has been
Yeah.
hugely transitional. I don't know if that even makes sense, but it's just been transitioning.
Mhm.
Yes.
With all of the roller coaster emotions and all of the things, and it's butterfly coming out of the cocoon has been the theme for me for this whole month.
Yes.
Going through all of the sludge, all of the sludge.
And I think spring is kind of a sludgy time of year because, your allergies are acting up and we are transitioning. So,
Yep. Coming out of winter, which is a very grounded time of year.
mhm,
And so we need to be putting more motion into our lives and eating more drying foods and not grounding as much unless you have a lot of anxiety and pitta.
mhm.
With Ayurveda, we are very grounded already from the winter. So we want to focus more on some more air, adding more air into, and we can do that with the detoxing and different foods we eat.
Mhm.
What are drying foods? What are some
So-
foods that we can eat that are drying?
So you want to eat, so like for your bread, you want to do like toasted bread instead of just eating plain bread. So if you have a sandwich or you have toast or not toast, you want to toast it. So because it's very drying. You want to stay away from more moist foods. So like for fruits, you want to stay away from like bananas and things like that, berries during this time of year. And then for your grains, rice is good this time of year. You want to stay away from pasta this time of year. Dairy products, because, and dairy products are very caustic. So in general, they're very mucusy and sluggish type things. So hence all this going on right now because of the traveling, and I'm eating cheese and having milk. And I have queso because we went to Mexican. Anyways, but you could do goat milk instead of regular milk and kind of steer clear of cheese and things like that. Some less of the heavier foods. So like your meats, you want to choose chicken instead of steak. Whereas other times of the year, you would want to choose steak instead of chicken. And here's the thing, whatever your body is wanting right now is probably the opposite of what it needs. So when our doshas are out of balance, that dosha wants to survive. So it's like, I want more ice cream. And this might be just me. But it's like, oh, you're not feeling good? You're all congested because you've been having regular creamer and cheese and all of these other dairy products. You know what we really want is some ice cream too. Instead of
Or
me
some
going for
really
like
thick, gooey
some,
macaroni and cheese.
yeah. So instead of me going and being like, okay, let me get some dried fruit or some apples and eat some of that. No, let me go for an ice cream. Because so you're out of balance dosha will be the one that's saying, I want this. And that's what your body you're craving. So sometimes we have to flip that and do the exact opposite of that. So
Okay.
like apples, cranberries, grapefruit. I have a list here. I don't remember them all. For your oils, you actually, like, I'm a big avocado oil user, but you want to avoid avocado oil this time of year, and it's best to go with more drying ones, like canola oil, flaxseed, and I'm not a fan of canola oil myself, but safflower and sunflower are better this time of year. And then for your sweetener, raw honey. And raw honey is actually detoxing,
Yes.
and it's abrasive if you are, if you use it in any of your teas or in your cooking. It's an abrasive, so it actually cleans the inside of your stomach lining and your intestines of sludge. And so a lot of the foods right now in spring are foods that will do that. They kind of are more abrasive foods. Any vegetables are good, but you want to do raw vegetables right now. Any of the spices, you can do any spices this time of year, which is good, but you do want to avoid salt this time of year. Yes, I know, Shannon. And of course, your herbal teas.
So yeah, I was thinking definitely the herbal teas and the raw honey, and I love grapefruit, but I think I could switch out the salt for grapefruit because I need that spicy. Oh my goodness. Okay. So
then if you're eating a bunch of nuts, because I know my mom, she eats almonds and things like that. So right now is the best time for pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds,
Oh,
and
okay.
kind of stay away from almonds and cashews and things like that right now during this time of year. What else can I tell you? And for beans, for beans, I actually have a PDF that I can send out.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yes,
for
please.
everyone.
All right.
Because I cannot remember all the things. I actually had this on my fridge at the house, because, like I know most of the drying foods and everything, but, I don't remember it all. My memory is not that great. So if you're a big bean eater, mung beans are the best right now.
Okay.
Red lentils and split peas, and you want to avoid like black beans, kidney beans, lima beans, things like that. So right now, mung beans is the best. And if you are wondering where you can get mung beans from, mung is MUNG, because you can't buy them in most stores. Banyan Botanicals.
They sell those? Oh
They
my
do
goodness,
sell them.
I'm so lazy. I haven't gotten some things because I just don't want to go to the Oriental Market.
No.
Like it's like a 30-minute drive depending on traffic. Yeah. So I can get it from Banyan Botanicals.
You can. Yep. And you can also get, if you don't have a lot of seasonings, like I have every seasoning known to man and I have all the spices. But if you don't have all of that and you want to make a detoxifying kitchery, they actually have the kitchery spice blend that you can buy. And you do your mung beans and your kitchery spice together to make kitchery.
Huh. Okay.
And that's a very detoxifying meal to eat. So when we do our cleanse, which we'll probably do one for the fall equinox, because things in my life should be a little bit more settled then, and I'll be able to actually host a cleanse. It's usually about a 3 to 4 week period of time that you start doing it. It's a slow progression into the cleanse. You're really only doing the cleanse for 1 week, but there are certain things you want to do leading up to the cleanse, and then certain things you want to do after the cleanse. But the cleanse itself is about a week long. And so hopefully when fall gets here, I'll have that time that I can devote to sharing that and hosting it and teaching it. I wanted to do one this year, but I just did not have the time, and I had to respect my own boundary in that aspect and say no, because I really did want to do that for spring. And there are some other people that did it, that's, in my group, and I love that for them. But I had to respect my own boundary, and sometimes that's hard to do.
Well, but that's important. That's really important.
Yeah. So, but I will do that in the fall, and we'll plan for that probably a couple weeks in advance, and have a separate group for that cleanse, and then from there we'll do one every equinox. We'll do one. Yeah, that'll be the plan.
I
So-
want that PDF. I do, and then I have a question for you.
Mhm.
Sorry. So, because I'm looking at the Qigong spring
Uh-huh.
guidelines. And so for this, it says for taste, it's sour and acidic.
Hmm.
And for food, we want to do more steam cooking,
Hmm.
like steaming. And that's all I got. And then the other things that have to do with the liver, like the tears and the eyes. The yin organ is the liver, the yang organ is the gallbladder. Our color is green, emotion is anger. But definitely the cooking is steam cooking. And for our taste, it's sour and acidic.
Mhm.
Does that line up with the Ayurvedic?
So with Ayurveda, it's pungent, bitter, and astringent taste for spring.
Same thing.
And we want to avoid sweet and sour and salty taste.
Sweet and sour. Okay.
And salty.
Okay.
Avoid sweet, sour, and salty. So
Okay.
those chips and queso. That's what it is.
That's so good.
Okay.
I don't do it often, so. But trips to Florida, yes.
Yes.
Seeing my kids, yes. So.
A little plug for honey here in the spring when allergies are running amok among us is just a little tiny dot of honey. I mean, that's like I use maybe dime to quarter size on a teaspoon will help soothe your throat. You can
Mhm.
also put it in your tea, but sometimes when I get to coughing and I, from all the stuff, just a little bit of honey and it just it's like magic. Works better than any NyQuil, DayQuil, or Benadryl or other stuff in the moment
Mhm.
for me.
And if you can get local honey from wherever the area you're going to be in for a little while, if you get that local honey, it helps with your allergies because it gives kind of like, hey, these are the allergens that are in the air. So this is, it helps.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how to find those words, but local honey for local
Local
allergies.
honey.
Yes. Yeah. Try to find local honey. Always
So
helpful.
when you're traveling, that's a little harder to do, but
But we hone in on the local honey spots or like, these little country stores or gift stores. Usually they will have like some local honey, local wildflowers or whatever's in the area.
and you can get a little one of it. You don't have to get like the big jar.
Yeah.
You can get a little, and because especially when you're moving around a lot, you might not need a whole jar of honey from Tennessee.
I like my sweets. I could probably eat a whole jar of honey in just a couple of days.
Honey is delicious. And it never goes bad. It never goes bad. They found some honey in a dig that was like, 2,000 years old or something like that. And it was not molded or anything. That's like the perfect food.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it is sweet, it's astringent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So keep your wildflowers. Don't mow them down. The bees need them so they can make honey.
We actually found out here in the backyard at my daughter's house. There's a stump back there, and there's bees that have burrowed down into the stump. And you can, if you get close enough, you can hear them buzzing in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
So. Mm-hmm. But I'm not getting too close because I don't want them to attack me. But you can hear them in there. So
I had a dream the other night about dandelions. Like I really had a dream about dandelions. I don't know if maybe it was because I've been watching a lot about it lately, but I had a dream about dandelions. Somebody came in the yard and was like, excuse me, but I need this, and pulled like the entire stalk of the dandelion, the root, the thing and the flower, and it had a couple of little pollen-y things on it, the puff balls that I love, the puff balls.
Yes.
Yeah. It was really weird, but dandelions are amazing.
They are amazing. And I
Mhm.
think, isn't it dandelions that you can eat every part of the plant?
Yes. Mhm.
Yes.
You can use every part of the dandelion, and the thing is that we spray them and we kill them, and they are the most versatile plant there is,
Yes.
and they will grow back year after year even if you have sprayed them, because they're like, I'm not giving up.
Yep.
No.
But they're very versatile, so I try to keep them in my
Yeah.
yard. So
Yeah. I was thinking about dandelion tea. It's on one of my list of things to do for like the dandelion. It's a good detox tea.
mhm,
Yeah.
it is. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. That was weird. Like dandelions have been just like all in my thoughts lately.
Well, and I threw a little bit in there too, because every time somebody says like, how are you doing? Dandy like a dandelion.
I love that.
So I just throw that in there. Dandy like a
Yeah.
dandelion.
Well,
So
what I can
yeah.
speak to on dandelions are, they are fascinating to take pictures of. The puffs when they go to seed, I guess, and just zoom in
Mhm.
and look. It's like a whole universe there. It's just fascinating, beautiful plant
Mhm.
and symbolic.
Very.
And they're joyful. I loved as a kid and still do. Yes, blowing them and
Yes.
watching them go all over the place. That is the
Yeah.
coolest.
Yes. Or have you ever been in a dandelion field and the wind is blowing and
Yes.
and it's like releasing all those
They
little
like lift off to
seeds?
fly
Yes.
away.
That is one of those moments to just stop, breathe, and be. And that, like, I think that is like a universal sign to, like, hey, pay attention here.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And that's why I started getting more into like herbalism and things like that, because with Ayurveda, a lot of it has to do with different flowers and herbs and using those just in daily life, with drinking different teas and using them in your cooking. And so, that's one of the classes I'm taking is also, a separate herbalism class, separate than Ayurveda. But that's one of the things I like, because I do have, you know, the asthma and the allergies and all my other problems that I don't even realize that I have as much anymore until I'm like in a space right now where I'm doing the traveling and not eating what I normally eat. Like going back and forth, because with Ayurveda, we're consciously detoxifying your body all the time. It's just like we do the cleanse twice a year, but you're always consciously detoxifying your body with the herbal tea and the different meals.
Yeah. We have so many toxins we put in our body on a daily basis, from the chemicals in our shampoo to a lot of the soaps that we use, toothpaste, and the chlorines in the water, and it's just it's everywhere.
It
Everywhere.
is. And you have to be very mindful of, like I choose my shampoo and conditioner based off of the ingredients in there. So I don't just pick up what's on sale.
Right.
A lot of the sale items, like I don't even look, I used to look at sale papers and I used to clip coupons to save money and do all that. But all the things that are on sale and all the things you can click, well, I guess you can click now, clip a coupon for, is all things I won't buy. Like
Mhm.
they don't put the good stuff on sale. They don't give you a coupon for the good stuff. So, I'm very mindful when I'm looking at products of what's in it and what am I going to put on my body too, because your skin absorbs just like with lotions. I don't buy lotion anymore. I use oils. I get organic oils from the grocery store,
Mhm.
and that's what I use as my lotion now. I'm not going to put all of those chemicals on the outside of my body. It absorbs in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I don't do that. I don't, I really don't paint my nails anymore because you have all those toxins in. I know Shannon's like, that's okay. You do you. There's no judgment here. I'm just saying what I do.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I know. And I'm the same way. I try to be mindful of all the toxins
Yeah.
I put in there. But yeah, the nails, I'm still working on.
Like, you know, I just have made a decision, and this was years ago, where I'm not going to follow the status quo. I don't put any products in my hair at all. I don't dye my hair. I don't use hairspray. I don't use gel. Now I do on my daughter's hair because she's got the little kinky curly hair. But I still like, I pick natural products for her hair. I don't get all the chemical ones.
Yeah.
And so the soap I use is, you know, has less ingredients and is a natural soap, you know. So all of the products I buy for the house, you know, I clean with vinegar instead of bleach. I do have bleach for the dogs sometimes but like I try to minimize the use of it, you know. And then, you know, when we are eating out, I make a healthier choice versus, you know, just eating whatever, you know, I would normally have ate. So, and that's really what it's about, detoxifying on every level, you know, and trying to avoid not just in the foods we eat, but the things we do, and then going out into nature to help detoxify your body, you know, and using meditation and things like that on top of what we put onto and into our body and the products we use in our home to help us detoxify.
Yeah. Even though, I mean, and even with making all of those conscious choices, it seems like you think you're doing great, and then you go, oh, I didn't realize that had that in it.
Yeah. It's in our foods too. There's
Mhm.
chemicals in our food.
Yeah.
You start reading the labels. I mean, it at one point, I think it almost paralyzed me moving forward, because I'm like, and it's there and it's there. It's why they say to eat whole foods as much as possible. You know, stay away from processed foods, because anytime something is processed, chemicals are usually there to help that along or add to the taste, or, you know, things
And
that
you
we're
want to
putting in
get,
our body that's not food.
yeah. And you want to make sure, like, you're with your vegetables and your fruit and any foods you buy, that it's as organic as possible, because you have pesticides. And, you know, there were pesticides used before 1980, but the use of Roundup came around in about 1980. And that's when they started using the one that causes cancer. And it's on all of our foods. So if you get organic, you don't have all those pesticides on there. So, and that's caused a lot of issues over the years for people. I remember my mom getting on to me for using Roundup before I stopped using it. It's poison, it's poison. And so, poison, you know. So like, if you're growing your own food, you want organic soil, you know, organic seeds. If you're buying from the grocery store, you want organic, because then you don't have all those pesticides. And then if you're growing your own, you don't want to use pesticides on your food. You know, we're putting all those toxins into our bodies.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to be mindful, you know, if you're eating eggs, that they're cage free, they're fed organic foods. Your chickens, your beef, everything that you're getting grass fed, cage free, all of that stuff. So that, because that, our food is also energy, and that's another topic.
Yeah.
So if you're eating a chicken that's been cooped up into a little itty bitty cage its entire life, and is in a cage with 20 other chickens, and they're just in there eating food, growing so that they can kill them, that energy and that vibration of that chicken is going to be much lower than a chicken that is out in a field running around, you know, eating food from the earth. So the energy level, the vibration of that chicken is going to be much higher if you eat chicken. I know a lot of people are kind of moving away from that, but I still like my meat. So, but how are we treating the animals that we're eating? And I think it's more about that. How are we treating them? Because that's a big, you know, a big thing to look at.
Yes.
Were they raised in a healthy environment? You know.
So I guess our thought for leaving this today will be being mindful of our foods, being aware of the things that we're putting in our bodies,
Mhm.
detoxing, doing that spring mindful eating,
Mhm.
and just be aware and make better choices.
Right.
Mhm.
And it can be overwhelming. So, you know, if you're somebody like me, I remember years ago, I got a book on like holistic ways, and it was so overwhelming. I threw the book to the side and went
Mhm.
back to my life because I didn't know where to start. So, my point in saying that is it can be overwhelming, but start where you can.
Yeah.
Start with what you know,
Mhm.
little baby steps, and then learn and grow. And
Yes.
Mhm.
you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to go
Yep.
throw all your food out and be like, well, I'm not eating chemicals, but I don't know what to eat now.
Yeah.
Start with what you know.
Start with one thing.
Yeah.
And that's what, that's what I did years ago was I started with one thing. I said, okay, I'm going to not eat this anymore. All right, I'm not going to buy this anymore. But it was a gradual step over multiple years of me
Yes.
getting to that point. And so
Mhm.
like when I'm coaching clients, and that's what I tell them, like you don't just go cold turkey like you do with like the keto diet and like Weight Watchers and things like that, where you just go cold turkey. This is how I'm going to eat now. It's a slow progression. You're like, okay, instead of eating this, I'm going to eat this week.
Mhm.
And then you continue on every week making a small change.
Right.
And that's how you are able to sustain it.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. Like even if that small change is switching from regular or to cage-free organic eggs.
Yep.
Just that one little change.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Small
Kind of feels.
changes
Mhm.
over time.
Yep. And then next week you do something else.
Yeah.
And you
Mhm.
just keep building on that every week. And then in a year, you have a completely different way of eating
Yes.
or a completely different way of living. But you start with one thing.
Mhm. We got to get a reading list together because now the 1% rule, there's a book about that where you do 1% consistently. And I feel like every time we have one of our talks, we come up with more books. We need to get a
Yeah.
reading list together.
We
Yeah.
do.
Or
We'll start working on
at
that.
least share a resource. So put that PDF in the comments,
Good work.
Michelle, if you don't mind, for the
Okay.
foods. And maybe make it
Okay.
as a separate post as well so people can access it. That'd be
Okay.
all right.
All right.
Well,
Great
happy
day.
Saturday, everyone. Have a great one, or whatever day it is that you are watching.
Yes. All right.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Next
Next
Saturday,
Saturday.
tea time, 9:30. Also, we have
Ish.
yoga Tuesday. Yeah, ish. Tuesday night yoga, 8:30.
Ish.
And Qigong Thursday night, 8:30.
Ish.
Ish. And then depending on when you're watching this, watch for Yoga Nidra to start also. Or it
Yeah.
might already be happening. I don't know. Watch for post on that.
And you can always
Right.
watch the replays. They're there for
Yes.
you.
Yep.
And
All right.
YouTube channel coming soon.
Yes.
All right. Have an amazing day.
Have an amazing day. Goodbye.